Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. In this part two, we will go further into Azure, and what we're going to actually be doing is creating a resource group, as we did in part one, and then I'll be creating a Windows 10 virtual machine and also a Ubuntu virtual machine. And then we're going to set up the virtual network and the subnet for that virtual network. We're gonna keep both these virtual machines within the same subnet. All right, so what we're gonna do first is search up resource groups, and we're going to press create. So like in part one, we're just gonna pick a name for the resource group. RG Network Lab. So I'll name mine RG Network Lab. We're gonna choose whatever region you want to choose. Maybe it's OCD, but I always choose West US2. We're gonna go next. We're gonna skip the tags. We don't need that. Review and create, and then press create. So now we have our resource group created. So now we're going to go and search up virtual machines. Again, my preference is just to go to the top search bar and type in virtual machines, but you can also navigate your own way. We'll click virtual machines and press create. Azure virtual machine. All right. So you want to make sure that this virtual machine is going to be in the right resource group. So RG Network Lab. We're going to choose a virtual machine name. I like to keep it simple. Let's create a Windows virtual machine first. So Windows VM, Windows 10 VM, US West 2. Make sure it's the same region. Availability zone, we're going to keep that the same. Everything else the same, zone 1 as well. Security type we won't mess with, trusted launch virtual machine. And this is the important part. A lot of people tend to mess up because they don't choose the right image. So we're going to go to Windows 10 and yep, 64-bit. And the size, I like to go with the two vCPUs. I don't need anything more. You'll see that it says $70 per month, but that's if you just like left it on for an entire month. It'll come around to that price. Um, Here we're gonna create a administrator account. What I like to do is just note everything that I write down. So for Windows VM, Windows 10 VM, username, and then password. So username, we will put admin. I'm not gonna make it too crazy. Can't be that. Okay, so lab user. Cool. And then password. It's not good OPSEC, but I'm gonna create a simple password for me, just for the sake of this lab. Lab user 123 exclamation. Lab user 123 exclamation. Oops. There we go. And apparently they don't match. 1, 2, 2. Okay, so it wasn't long enough. So lab user password is lab user 12312. Let me set this up. And I'm basically going to create the same username and password for Ubuntu, but we'll get there when we get there. We want to allow inbound ports of RDP, and the port number for RDP is 3389. If you don't know what RDP is, it's a remote desktop protocol, which allows you to remotely access computers, servers, and the only caveat for that is the other user cannot be logged in. So if you were to remotely connect to a computer, it will log that person out. All right, so we're going to confirm to these licensing rights, and then we're going to go to disks. Um, we don't need to mess with that. It's just storage. Go to network, and this is where we're going to create our virtual network. So as you can see, it says new Windows 10 VM VNet. You can also create your own name. I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it the same. And then we got the default subnet of 10.0.0.0.24. All right. NICS network security group. Basic. Let's see. We'll set that up later. We won't worry too much about that. Inbound ports of RDP 3389, we will allow that. And then that's good for networking. We'll go to management, monitoring. So all this we can pretty much skip. And we're going to, so it passed validation, so now we're going to create. It's initializing and submitting the deployment. So it's in progress right now. And if we go all the way back home, select resource groups, go to our resource group, you can see that it's currently um, building out your virtual network. So right here is going to be your public IP address, your virtual network. If we refresh it, you'll see that it has some more stuff. The virtual NIC card right here, the virtual network, the disk, which is going to be the storage. So we'll let that go ahead and finish out. What we need to do now is create another virtual machine. We're going to go to virtual machines, create. Make sure that this is within the right resource group. So RG Network Lab. Virtual machine name. We're just going to go with Ubuntu VM. Make sure that's in the same region. We can skip zones, security types, image. We're going to go for Ubuntu Server 22. No particular reason, just wanted to. Again, you want to have at least the 2 BCPUs. And administrator account, we're going to do password. And we're going to create the user. So, again, I'm just going to copy it over from the Windows. It's lab user, and then password is lab user 123 exclamation exclamation. That looks like it checks out. We're gonna go next, skip the disk, and we're gonna move on to networking. And we want to ensure that the virtual network is the, so it's not going to be the Windows 10 VM net. We created, let's see. Okay. It looks like, actually this is good. I actually forgot what the virtual network was, so I'm gonna just go back to resource groups, go to my, so this network watcher right here, it looks like it's just a resource group that it automatically built out. We don't need it, so we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna go to our resource group and we're gonna check for the virtual network. So Windows 10 VM VNet. Okay, so I guess it was that. So we're gonna go back to virtual machine and create it. Choose the correct resource group. I'm gonna kind of fly by this since we already went through all this. Um, and Ubuntu server 22. Password. Okay. Go back to networking and then we're going to choose the Windows 10 VM VNet. Thinking about it now, we should have renamed virtual network something different, but we'll move past that. Alright, we got the default subnet, which was the same as the Windows subnet of 10.00/24. We can skip all of these and just go to review and create. And we're gonna create it. Alright, so again, it's gonna take some time. We're gonna go home, go to resource groups, click our resource group. And as you can see, we have all our Windows stuff. We got our VM, public IP network security group, the virtual network, the virtual NIC, and the disk. And now it's creating Ubuntu. We're gonna refresh and see how it's coming along. So again, yeah. So for the Ubuntu virtual machine, we got the public IP, the network security group, and virtual NIC. So we're just gonna wait for that to finish up. I'm gonna go back to virtual machines and see. So looks like it was completed. So what we want to do is just verify that again that the virtual network is the same and the subnet is the same. So after we click the Ubuntu virtual machine, we're gonna go down to the networking and we can see that the virtual network is Windows 10 VM VNet with a default subnet. And now we're gonna go to the Windows VM and it matches up because it says the Windows 10 VM VNet with the default subnet. So now we have a, let me get a little image here. So basically, this is what we have right here. Let me zoom in. We have the tenant when we created the account, the subscription when we entered our payment, the resource group that's going to hold all the resources. We created a virtual network and a subnet with both machines within that subnet. This pretty much ends this video, and in the next video in part 3 we're gonna try to configure the network security guard and then maybe play around with Wireshark and see how traffic moves between both virtual machines. So yeah, thanks for watching and Hope to see you soon.